guys, today's gonna be a quick pick pile reading about what energies fuel you. Pile 1 is going to be, the piles are going to be bracelets today. Pile 1 is going to be this beaded bracelet, and on one of the beads it has a little peace sign. Here it is. Oh. I don't know if you can, oh, yep. A little peace sign. Which my mom got from a random lady in the street who just handed that to her and gave it to her. And the second pile is gonna be this bracelet. It's a kind of bracelet that you put essential oils in. Essential oils are a little too strong for me, so I haven't put essential oils in this one in a while, but I would say right now it smells like if you go to one of those indoor plant gardens and everything smells really watery and like a rainforest, if you go to like Rainforest Cafe or to an aquarium or something. And the third pile gonna be this regular old like leather bracelet that I stole from Hobby Lobby. Fuck Hobby Lobby, just saying. Sorry about that. Hi pile 1, you chose this peace bracelet. This is gonna be a reading about what energies fuel you. Apparently I forgot to bring in a regular tarot deck, so we're gonna be using the sexual tarot today, because I just have that in my closet with me most of the time. This is the Monera Erotic Tarot. I got it off of Etsy. Okay, Spirit, give me a quick read on what energies fuel my pile 1. What energies just give them immediate fuel, immediate energy, and motivate them more. So we have the Ace of Wands, which is funny because like Ace of Wands is literal energy and passion. So I'm feeling like, especially sexual energy, just like that raw sexual energy without really having to force it to happen or having to try, is something that fuels you a lot. Especially you might have some specific sexual desires. Some of you might be like especially kinky, or some of you might have like a specific person in mind. But like your sexuality in general, and especially your feminine sexuality, are something that fuels you and probably fuels a lot of your creative projects. I'm definitely seeing this in a more like art type of light. Like you definitely have a very sensual way of creatively expressing yourself in your art. Look at this, the Priestess. Okay. So, some of you might be a little bit like, damn, I'm sexy, look at me. Like, I don't blame you. You're probably sexy as fuck, pile 1. But definitely just looking in the mirror and like appreciating yourself, or looking back on tasks you've completed or goals that you set and were able to get to. Just in general gassing yourself up and being like, damn, I really did that, and damn, look at me, look who made me, like, is something that fuels you. I feel like boosting your own self-confidence and self-worth, and just not only boosting that, but like actively being like, damn, I'm kind of sexy though, and just sitting back and admiring yourself like this woman seems to be doing with her little kitty. Just checking it out in the mirror like, damn, okay. I feel like some of you might be a little bit like afraid that like um you like yourself too much, or like a little too egotistical, but I'm feeling like you don't realize that in reality you are kind of a really humble person. You don't often let yourself express that like egotisticalness, even though in your head you think you do. So yeah, don't be afraid to embrace that more. Like, it's like you're afraid to embrace that more because you already think you're doing too much. But like, if you're sexy, you're sexy. You're allowed to be like looking at yourself like, damn, I love myself. What the fuck? And what's funny is here, like, I'm feeling this synergy between these two cards of like this sexual, just raw primal sexual energy and attraction, and this like high priestess examining herself and being like, damn. So like masturbating gives you energy. Maybe not even like just physically masturbating, but giving yourself that like self-pleasuring, I guess you could say, not just in sexual regards, but in all regards. You're like creatively, in work, in daily routine, self-pleasure and appreciating of oneself really fuels you, especially when you like let yourself appreciate your own light in a more sexual way, or like you see yourself as more sexual, or like you appreciate your sexual side more, and they're like, you know, that fuels you a lot, because that confidence, that sexual confidence and prowess that you can sometimes exude, not only fuels you more than you realize, but makes other people be like, damn, I'm inspired now, because you inspire people with like the way you gas yourself up. You're just so confident with it, and you just appreciate your own sensuality and sexuality in a way that like makes you seem more attractive, makes you more attractive in general, without even you having to try. Like a huge part of maybe in your chart, you know, in like your astrology chart, you have a lot of like self-love. Like your sense of love comes from expressing self-love, or it might be like positioned in your chart where like you can't have good loving relationships, or you can't have the type of sexual relationships you want unless you're like giving yourself a certain amount of self-love. It's just crazy because this really does fuel you a lot. But it's like you don't notice this power, and like you might be hearing what I'm saying and being like, yeah, you're right, but like I feel like you don't realize how outwardly you change. On the inside, you might not feel that different because you're usually like on the inside gassing yourself up, feeling sexually liking yourself. But really like expressing that and not being afraid to like have other people see that part of you fuels you. Like, I'm just trying to say, I don't think you realize how much it fuels you in a way that other people notice when you really are like committing to that, because you're so used to just feeling that way towards yourself. Oh, I don't think I've seen this card before. We have Knight of Water, and we have a Pisces and a water symbol on here. So there isn't a black rose on here. There's a black horse, but for some reason I saw a black rose. where the black horse is. These little rows. That's really a horse. About me. Maybe you have like a darker personality than most people, or just darker sense of like experience of the world, like kind of Scorpio energy. Okay, I just looked up the black rose symbolism because I forgot what it meant. But black roses are symbols featured in fiction with many different meanings. It mostly means death. Mysterious and striking, the most common symbolism tied to black rose is that of death, mourning, or tragedy. So yeah, you probably just have like a darker sense of like emotionality and understanding of emotional concepts, which makes it easier to get for you to get through darker, complex emotional situations because you're comfortable in that state. But like to other people, you could seem very like mysterious or dark or sort of like in the gray area, is what I'm hearing. Like, you're the type of person understand that not everything is black and white, and like the gray area can get kind of endless. You're also very connected to just the base sort of universal energy. Some of you might feel very connected to God or to a certain deity, or a certain spirit. But whatever it is that your beliefs are, you channel the universe and your own sense of self-expression very transparently, in a way where there's no distortion happening between it being there and then coming out of you. It just comes out straight. There's just this sense of like tragedy, death, mourning surrounding your energy in general, where like people might find it very hard to get over you, or might like see you in this like sort of sad way. But I feel like you kind of like this pile one. Like you like being like this sort of dark, mysterious person, and you like being seen in this sort of like sad light. Especially since this night is like, you can't really tell, but like this is the water, and the knight is in there, and his lower half is in the water, and he's just sort of like looking up, like he's just chilling. Like, oh, I'm just sitting here in this pond. And what's funny is he has all his night gear, like his night garb, his little armor and everything on, but he's just sitting there in this pond. Like, he's supposed to be doing something else, but instead he's emotionally contemplating. Or even just chilling and relaxing and enjoying the atmosphere. So I think not focusing too much on what you should be doing, you know, and maybe some of you are like really like, I need to be productive, I need to be progressive. And while it's a good energy to have, maybe like you have really high expectations of yourself. So those times when you just sit back and like are doing things for your own self-pleasure, or emotionally contemplating concepts for your own like, because you find it interesting, not just because you want to be productive, or you're trying to progress as a person, that fuels you. Like doing things out of just like enjoying them. I don't know. Maybe you have sort of a routine right now where you like are set, very set, very in a way where you can be productive, and then have your little breaks in between. But what fuels you, and that's a good routine to have, especially if you can be a little bit more scatterbrained. But what fuels you, no matter what routine you're having, is being able to have this flexibility, being able to step back and just like sit there and be all emotional, water sign Pisces energy of like, what does this all mean? That fuels you to like keep going through your routine. I'm not necessarily saying you should stop having a structured routine the way you do, but be more flexible with it and allow yourself to make choices during that routine that just go with whatever you're feeling for the day, whatever you want to enjoy for that day. So just letting yourself be flexible and letting yourself sort of use your own intuition to go throughout things. And trust your intuition very much so fuels you to feel more like, you know, yourself as a person, but also gives you more energy to do things. And you're like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I feel like myself. I feel like a lot of your sense of motivation comes from, and your sense of energy comes from feeling like you're being your best self, or you're doing your best as an individual. You feel the most like yourself at that moment. So yeah. But I'm just gonna wrap it all up by re-explaining everything I just said. With the priestess here, using your intuition, but also self-love and deep appreciation of oneself fuels you and gives you energy. Your sexual desires, subconscious or otherwise, maybe sexual endeavors you've had in the past, maybe the sexual relationships you have now, maybe like a specific person, or maybe specific lifestyle you like to live sexually fuels you. Or maybe a specific person you like to be sexually, like the type of person you like to be sexually, fuels you to have more energy and just, you feel more like yourself, your true self. Just being sexual in general gives you energy, and listening to your intuition in a way where you're like appreciating your own intuition gives you energy. And then with the Knight of Water, definitely darker concepts such as death, transformation, Scorpio energy gives you energy. You like those deep, complex emotional situations. You like thinking through them. You might be a philosophical person, but just contemplating those things and accepting that sense of emotionality throughout your daily routine and being flexible because of that fuels you. Just realizing that your emotional self can be a bit dark and can kind of pull you in all sorts of different directions, but it's okay to be flexible around that. It's okay to let yourself be pulled in different directions by your dark emotionality, because it sort of gives your daily routine and your daily life a little extra flavor. But yeah, like just fully embodying that dark, sensual, deep emotional state really fuels you. And that's your read, pile 1. Hi, pile 2. You chose this essential oil bracelet that smells like the rainforest. This is gonna be your reading on what energies fuel you. I'm gonna use the sexual tarot. It's the Monera erotic tarot. I got it off of Etsy. Spirit, let's see what's going on. What energies fuel my pile 2? You know how cards can sometimes smell like old books? We have the moon. We got the 6 of Wands. These cards smell so good. Oh, we got our little King of Cups, King of Water. I want you to see his face because he looks mischievous as fuck in this card. I'm just not used to the King of Cups looking so mischievous. Damn, SZA. So, some of you might have strong Pisces, Scorpio, Leo, and Jupiter placements in your chart that affect the energies that fuel you. But let's break this down. The moon here, subconscious desires, subconscious fears, and facing them is something that fuels you. I feel like changing in those aspects of your life to especially shadow work and feeling more comfortable with those darker parts of yourself, like learning to do that and changing for the better in that way is something that fuels you. I'm also feeling like doing creative projects that have to do with expressing emotionality, whether like drawing, singing, dancing, is something that fuels you. You like to express that like emotionality that can't really be expressed consciously, but it's sort of something that comes from the subconscious and you just express it outwards. And you also like to affect other people's subconscious realms. Some of you might do subliminals, because those have to do with rewriting the subconscious. Yeah, for some of you, subliminals might fuel your energy, or just trying to manifest or change your mindset in general in that way. I'm also going to take this literally in that the moon, a full moon especially, and just being outside at night, it fuels your energy like nothing else. It's like that song where Lil Tracy's like, the moon's out, I feel like myself again now. I'm gonna play that actually. Never eat, never sleep. That's what it's called. Yeah. Six of Wands. From the Six of Wands meaning, I'd say that like recognition, not just having pride, but the recognition of your pride and your accomplishments is something that fuels you. This might be something that you see as a weakness, or that you don't like feeling like you need recognition, but it's not even that you need it. It's just that you appreciate it. It's something that fuels you and makes you more motivated, and that's not anything to be ashamed of. Like, without recognition, how would we know that, like, we're affecting other people at all, you know? So, I think it's just a matter of, like, balancing, how much you care about what other people think, versus your own self-worth and ability to acknowledge that you know that you're worth and how good you are, that you deserve recognition. But what's interesting about this card in particular is that, you know, she's going out and she seems real well dressed. She seems like she's going out for some fine dining. This is a fancy table. This might even be some expensive wine she's ordering. Like, they just seem like someone who likes luxuries. Like luxury comforts, the type of person who likes the people in their lives to also be able to appreciate the finer things in life. you're the type of person to appreciate the material things you have and really thoroughly enjoy them. So, giving yourself luxury is something that fuels you, like allowing yourself to like dress nice or do your hair in a way that makes you feel more like confident. Every once in a while, going out and eating somewhere fancy, or splurging on something that you enjoy. These types of things, in moderation, are something that really fuels you. You like to treat yourself well. You definitely have standards, which I don't blame you, pal, too. You recognize your self-worth, and so your standards are set to the same point, which is like if you're setting your standards lower than that, you're gonna get lower than that. So letting only allowing what you recognize as worth your own self-worth into your life, especially people and relationships, fuels you. Taking a step, like taking a firm step and being like, these are my boundaries, this is my self-worth, I'm not gonna accept anything less than this, fuels you and makes you be like, this is what I deserve, this is my worth, you know? And you might get a little embarrassed about that, like I just felt heat flash across on my body, like you might feel a little embarrassed doing that, being like, I deserve these things, like I'm worth, my self-worth is worth these things, like I deserve these little luxuries. And you might feel a little bit embarrassed about setting boundaries like that and stuff like that, but don't feel embarrassed about pal too. Like, when you're this badass of a bitch, you shouldn't be settling. You know what I mean? Like, it's just gonna take away from who you are as a person. It's gonna take away from, like, you being the best version of yourself where you feel the most like yourself. So yeah, just don't be afraid to treat yourself. Treating yourself really fuels you, and recognizing your self-worth means that you deserve this treatment. This being treated well is a huge fuel for yourself and your self-worth. Being like, yes, bitch, I deserve this fucking luxury. I feel the energy from this pal that you really worked hard to build up your self-worth and to become a better person. You really worked hard to afford these luxuries. And you might feel a little embarrassed about that, like, I didn't even work that hard, or like, everyone has to work hard, but like, seriously, you need to appreciate yourself a little more, because when you appreciate yourself like that, you get to have those luxuries. You feel more luxurious within yourself. Like, you're afraid of feeling luxurious and feeling like you deserve that luxury, but at the same time, you really crave that, and it makes you feel, it boosts your self-worth. So yeah, maybe just work on why you're afraid of that, you know? And why it like gets you a little embarrassed and flushed. I mean, you're adorable when you're flushed and embarrassed about too, don't get me wrong. But you definitely don't gotta like shy away from it. And the King of Cups. A lot of you are kind of like have an old wise soul, you know? Especially when it comes to like the darker parts of life, and you probably worked a lot on your shadow work and your subconscious fears. And you've worked on yourself to a point where you've like, you at this point you kind of allow yourself to be a little mischievous, be a little like silly and just mischievous. I can't find a better word than that. Mischievous. Maybe being a mischievous person despite having all the knowledge and experience you do and being as wise as you are, but still letting yourself having that sort of like childish, mischievous energy fuels you. Because the King of Water, the King of Cups, is like has a very strong inner child, and is able to operate so wisely because of how like healed their inner child is. Like they are the inner child at heart, you know. They are a more childish of the cards of the subconscious archetypes, and even though King of Water tends to be the most emotionally mature, but it's because of this emotional maturity that you are able to express this inner child energy so clearly and without self-judgment of yourself and without doubt. So just letting your inner child shine and being mischievous like that really fuels you. Maybe you're afraid that like you haven't changed enough, or maybe you're afraid that you're just going back to what you used to be. Like you were a child once and you grew beyond that, and now you're just getting back into your childish energy again. Like obviously you're regressing, but I think it's more like you're regaining a new appreciation for those parts of yourself where that, you know, maybe as a child you just sort of like freely be a child and you didn't really think about it, but now where you are now, expressing the inner child energy has a bit more of a meaning to you. It has a bit more of like you feel more free because of it, because you're like, I can do this, I'm allowed to do this, I'm allowed to act this foolish way, and it's not anybody else's business, you know. And maybe you have people in your life who expect you to be like super mature, super acting like super cold and authoritative all the time, but really, you know, on the inside you're kind of this teddy bear, you're kind of like this silly person, you know. And it fuels you when you're able to express that silliness without like feeling judged by others, which is probably why you might spend a lot of time alone, because then you can just express it without feeling as bad. But you might just have some people in your life who like don't really like that part of you as much, like family and such. But yeah, obviously, you know, control the relationship you can, and don't be afraid of like other people judging you. That's their own problem, you know. Like if you want to express your inner child like that, have at it, because you're adorable, Pile too. Like I don't think you realize how adorable you are, adorkable. But you also have like this dark sexiness, like this dark sort of sexiness, because of this wise emotional maturity you are coming from, and you can understand some really dark things in life, which has made some of the friends you've had feel very seen and feel less like hopeless and alone in the world, because you saw that darkness in them and you accepted it so clearly. Maybe when you talk to people that you love like that, you let yourself be more childish, but you're in this childish energy while you're explaining and talking about these dark, complicated concepts. And so it just makes these people feel so like, wow, like Pao 2 is so interesting of a person. And especially when you've given people advice, these people just felt enamored, inspired by your energy of like, you're telling them this deep, soul-provoking advice, but you're like being mischievous about it. And it makes them just feel less like serious about it, less like, oh, it's so hopeless, because you kind of give it more of a lightheartedness that some people, it can be hard to find. So yeah, it fuels you to be like helpful to others by being in your inner child energy, but also giving help with emotional complex situations, because you are emotionally mature and you have the ability to rule over your kingdom of water with your balanced king sensibility or whatever. But yeah, you're just an inner child at heart, and that fuels you. I think I'll just wrap this up by re-explaining the cards with the moon here. Expressing yourself creatively, especially deep subconscious concepts and emotional concepts, fuels you. especially experiencing art that is like that too, not just expressing it but experiencing it from others. The Six of Wands, you like to be recognized for your self-worth and how awesome you are, and you like to experience and indulge in luxuries because of how much you appreciate your own self-worth and who you are. And finally, you like to get into the deep emotional complex of the world, and you like to express your emotional maturity, and you also like to express your inner child and lightness to others and help them in that way, and that fuels you. I feel like you're just a very beautiful person, Pile 2. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose this Hobby Lobby bracelet, this is gonna be a reading. I'm using the Minera Erotic Tarot that I got on Etsy. Spirit, what energies fuel my Pile 3? Hold on. Okay. Spirit, what energies fuel my Pile 3? Give me some cards for what fuels Pile 3 energy. Alright. So we have the King of Air, we have the Empress, and we have the Four of Fire. So, logic and intellectuality is something that fuels you if you're able to complexly understand a situation. You especially like helping others. Like, you like to help others. Some of you might be a teacher, or someone who teaches. But you especially like to help others with this logicality. Maybe some of you do math really well, or some sort of other. You can't really tell, but he's like grinning. The king is like grinning to himself. And I feel like you are able to have a sense of humor about things. And that can fuel you too. Like, being in a shitty situation and still being able to like laugh at yourself always helps. Feel a little lightheartedness. So, helping other people with logical concepts and using humor to bring lightheartedness to the situation helps you. I'm also seeing that most of you are sort of like leader in your group, or you're in a position in your daily life where you are sort of an authoritative figure, or a leader, or someone a lot of people look up to, especially for advice. And I'm feeling like just having this role and embodying it in a healthy way, being able to help so many people and be their source of guidance is something that fuels you. It's not something to be embarrassed about, because not everybody can take on that role as the protector, as the guider, as the leader. So we take it where we can get. Sometimes you can feel a little overwhelmed by this, and so you need to establish boundaries with people, and you're allowed to say no, like, I don't feel like helping you, which I feel like some of you already know how to do. But yeah, just using your position of authority or leadership to help others with logical concepts, or just to help others feel more lighthearted with your sense of humor, is something that fuels you. You're definitely a for the collective kind of person. With the Empress, some of you might not be as in your feminine energy as you want to. Maybe your feminine side scares you a little bit. Others of you might be completely entrenched in your feminine side and have no problems expressing your femininity with ease. Either way, tapping into like the universal divine feminine energy and the ancient divine feminine energy that flows through everyone is something that fuels you. For some of you, your gender expression is a little bit more masculine seeming to others, but you love to get in your feminine side and your feminine energy and have other people see your feminine side. That does fuel you. You can't really see it, but at her heels is someone kneeling at her feet. So you like to be worshipped. It's definitely not something to be ashamed of, Paltry. You like to be worshipped, and you like people to fall at your feet. I mean, taking on the leader role as you do, and helping people as much as you do, I can understand why you would want people to worship you at your feet. Be like, yes, thank you so much for your leadership and guidance. So having, maybe not necessarily like kissing your boots or whatever, but having other people appreciate your position of authority and the things you do, using your position of authority to help others, fuels you. Like, other people seeing that you're there for others and you use that position of authority to help others fuels you. Especially when they appreciate it in such a way that is very deep and goes past just your exterior but into your interior, where most people don't like often bother to look and see. You especially like when people can appreciate your feminine side. Maybe a lot of the times people like prefer your masculinity, and you feel like you have to be more masculine around people. But maybe sometimes there's some people who like prefer your femininity and like really just appreciate you and gas you up when you're in your feminine energy, or just act like you're like so sexy when you're embodying your feminine energy, and it just makes you feel more seen as a person. So just expressing your feminine, your divine feminine, and being appreciated for your divine feminine by others, like being worshipped for your divine feminine energy, is something that definitely fuels you. Some of you might have like a divine counterpart or a soulmate or something who appreciates your femininity like that and worships your femininity like that in a way that makes you feel prideful. Like, you like to establish control and have the power, but you like to do it in a feminine way. And you like when people can appreciate that about you, and that you're not being selfish, you're not trying to put yourself above others, you're just using your position of authority to help. Instead of like some people who use their position of authority to gain more power for themselves or to help their own self-interest. I feel like for you, most of the time your self-interest is to help others. So you like to be appreciated for doing that and for having that commitment and care for others that you do. because at the end of the day, you help a lot of people and you work really hard to do that, so you deserve to be appreciated for that. With the Four of Wands here, I can't, well, she's definitely getting 8 out right there. She's getting 8 out. And you can't see it on the screen, but on the man's face, there's like, his face is glowing. The room is dark, but looking into her kitty, he can see like a divine light shining. So again, with your femininity being a very like powerful part of yourself that maybe you repress a little bit, but when you do let it out, it's like, whew, that is some divine ass from the light of God, feminine energy, Jesus fucking Christ, Lord up above. Yeah, you're definitely sexy as fuck. Like, when you embody your feminine energy, you take on this like powerfulness that you don't usually have when you're in your masculine energy, and it just makes you seem like a divine being, like an angel from the light of God or some shit. I'm also seeing that people like to pleasure you. Like, people find, what's it called, salvation, enlightenment from pleasuring you. Yeah. Maybe, acts of sexuality, like, not just within yourself, but with another person, and exchanging that sexual energy is something that fuels you. It makes you feel like, I can thoroughly appreciate someone and show them how much I thoroughly appreciate them, and I can receive the same in return, that same appreciation for my, like, power. And you like being able to show appreciation and receive it, you know, in a balanced way where, like, it's equal give and take. That really fuels you. So, like, healthy relationships where it's like you get pleasure just from giving pleasure to the other person is the type of relationships, you know, you look for and you strive for with everyone you meet. And, you know, romantic relationships or otherwise. So yeah, it just fuels you to have a healthy, stable relationship where each person enjoys pleasuring the other person and really likes to thoroughly appreciate each other and what they do for each other and for others around them. So you definitely deserve, Pal 3, someone who appreciates you fully and isn't just like in it for the halfway, but like really, really appreciates you for who you are. Yeah, you are really fucking good in bed. I don't think you know this. Some of you might know this, Pal 3, but like, you are really good in bed. You know how to make someone feel seen and appreciated, and you like to have the same in return. It fuels you to make someone feel seen and appreciated, and it fuels you to have the same energy thrown back at you. Like, yes, I appreciate you just as much as you appreciate me. So yeah. I guess I'll just wrap this up by explaining each card one more time. The Empress. Your femininity and your feminine sexuality fuels you. Feeling worshipped and appreciated by others people for your position of authority and your position of divinity fuels you. When people are genuinely appreciating what you do for others, that fuels you. Being in a position of authority within itself fuels you. Being as smart as and intelligent you are, but not only being as smart and intelligent you are, but being able to express that and help other people because of that fuels you very deeply, which is why you like being in this position of authority, so you can be in a position where you can help a lot of people as much as you can. And even if you can't help other people with like logical concepts, you are very good at bringing lightheartedness and humor, a sense of humor to the situation. And that really helps people, and that really fuels you, being able to help people in that way, to just make them feel a little bit lighter. Make the load a little bit lighter. Like, take a load off Danny. And then healthy relationships fuel you. Receiving deep, worshipful pleasure and giving that same pleasure in return is something that fuels you. And being appreciated for your feminine self, very in a sexual manner, is something that fuels you. You like to give and receive deep, meaningful pleasure. So yeah, that is your reading pile 3.